Good morning, everybody. I'm back with you here at the house, and I thought today, being that it's super wet and it's going to rain on and off all day long, that I would begin a little series on canning. And I thought about just jumping right in, but then I thought not everybody is as familiar with canning as some, so I thought if I was going to talk to someone who knew nothing about canning at all, how would I do it? So I thought what I would do first is I would just kind of take you through some of the basics. Straight up, this is level one, first step of your journey. The one thing that you're going to need right off the bat is you're going to need some jars. Because anybody can. You don't have to have a garden. You can buy your things at the supermarket, or you can buy your things at a farmer's market. You can buy them directly from a farm if you have one available. These are things that you don't have to, be homesteading full time to be able to do these things. Or maybe you're in the point in your life that you know that that's a future for you, but you're not there yet. So start cultivating these skills and learning how to do them. Maybe you didn't grow up doing them like we did, but you can start right now learning how to do them. And then it's just going to add to when you grow and you do find yourself on that homestead and you're able to start growing your own food, or said this is just something that is in your future, or you want it to be in your future. Maybe you don't even plan on homesteading full time, but you know the value of buying local food and preserving that food. That could be something that you're, the stage you're in right now. Any of this, it doesn't matter if you're about to homestead, if you are homesteading, or if you ever want to homestead. The value of good food preserved in your home is like, it's like worth its weight in gold. You're taking the best of what is right now and you're saving it for later. So whether you're doing that, you can freeze some things and you can save them that way, obviously. But canning, I just think that's one of the best things that you can learn to do, because I can go to my pantry, I can pull a can of green beans, and it is like summer in a jar. It's there. And we eat on those green beans all year round. We get to enjoy those because it's just one of our staples. It's pretty much a side dish out of 7 days a week. It's pretty much a side dish, maybe 3 to 4 times a week. We eat a lot of green beans, and so it's definitely something. So don't think that if you're not a homesteader, or if you're not in that, line of thought, that this is not for you, because it can be. If you value good food, if you value saving money, and you want the best for your table, then canning is a great option for you. When you also buying in bulk, that's going to save you money too. So if you buy a lot of things, a large amount of things, you can buy it by the box, or like a crate of peaches a lot of times, or a big basket of peaches when they come into season. You can buy that for a better price than you can buy a little container of them. So think like that. Think bulk, and think, how can I put this stuff up? So all these things are what you want to think about when you're getting ready to can. And so not only the food that you are going to put away, but also, like I said, you're going to have jars. And so there are a large variety out there, and they can begin as small as this. I think it's like a half pint. This is a half pint, and this is a half pint. So these, mainly I use these for gifts, or just like when I'm making things for Christmas, I will buy a case of these because like I can put in here some salves that I make. So I have these on hand most of the time, but I don't use them for canning very often just because we're a big family, so we do things kind of on a big scale. So this is your little half pint. Here is your half pint. And now this one doesn't have the ball logo or the Care logo. Those are the two jars that I really buy most of the time. But this is like a quilted ball, which is really pretty, I think. And I occasionally, I will put jam in those, especially if I plan on like gifting them. Now we eat our jam out of a quart jar or a pint jar, just because again, we use it well before it ever goes bad. And so that's just, it's more efficient for us to do that. Another half pint that they make is the wide mouth half pint, and it's short and squatty and super cute, and I love it. But it's, again, I don't do a lot of half pint. The reason I have this one, I just emptied it because I used up some pepper jelly. I'm like on pepper jelly kick right now. And so pepper jelly and salami is like my love right now. So anyways, I finished this one off recently and washed it up, so I have this. Now the next step up, you will have your pint jars. Now there's two different kinds you can have. There are regular mouth and there are wide mouth. Exactly the same size, 1 pint, but different mouths. And that might be a new term to you, a mouth. This is the mouth of the jar. When you talk about the mouth of the jar, all that means is there are certain lids or flats that will fit on there, okay? And then along with the lids and the flats are your rings. All these things are gonna be either wide mouth or regular mouth, okay? So most of your older school stuff, if you have like jars from your grandparents or are given to you, you're gonna have a lot more probably of the regular mouth, because the wide mouth didn't come out till, I don't know, maybe not too long ago. I like these. These you will find in my cabinet. This is what we drink out of. Tea, water, you know, it's in my cabinet. It's our drinking glasses. Because if we end up, you know, breaking one, then we have a pretty good supply that I can just pull from my canning jars, and we have more. And I'm just not, you know, I'm not a super frill kind of person. I don't have to have special jars to drink out of. So we have these. This is what we use. This is what we've used for ages and ages. I have a few like pretty drinking glasses, but this is the majority of what we use. I use these for, and when I can, I use, I put our salsa in this. A lot of times I'll do quart too, but salsa is usually in a pint jar. Or jellies, pickles, lots of things. And as much as I like this size and I use this size, the most used size I have are the quarts. Again, it's just because there's a lot of us and we eat a lot. So here's quarts. Now, again, you've got the wide mouth and you've got the regular mouth. Quarts, what I use for green beans, tomatoes, sauces, beets, if I pickle beets, peaches, apples, whatever, you know, you get the idea. This is, now, just because I use a quart, if you have a family of 2 or 3, and you may want to go with a pint, and that's totally per your family. When we eat green beans, I open up 2 quarts at a time. So it's, you do what's best for your, you know, your bunch. And then here is another jar that I have that I really, really like. This is what they call the asparagus jar. Now this is a pint and a half, and this is probably my absolute favorite for drinking out of, because it's kind of slim and it'll fit if I go somewhere. It'll fit in my coffee cup holder at, in the car, and it holds more than a pint. So I like this one. I think it's pretty. I really like jars. So here are your jars. So now when you can, these are the things you're going to need besides your fruit. We're not even, going there, or your vegetables or whatever you're canning. We're not even talking about those right now. We're talking about jars, okay? So we will get on to the other stuff soon, but like I said, this is a super intro, like newbie, beginner. Let's talk about jars and canning and what you need. You're gonna need your jars. You're gonna need the flat or the lid. You're gonna need the ring. Now, if you buy a brand new box, it will come with usually 12, unless it's a specialty, kind out there. Sometimes they have some real pretty designed ones. Don't be fooled. Make sure that they say for canning, because I know there's some Pioneer Woman's jars that are mainly for drinking out of. They're not for canning. Make sure you know what you're getting. Look for the ball. There's a whole canning section usually in stores. Balls are going to be in 6 or 12 packs usually. If they're fancy, then like I said, they may be just 6. Like I know that they come out with a different color occasionally, and there may be just 6 in there, but they always come, if they're brand new, they always come with a new flat and a new ring. And when you are canning, you want to use a new flat every time. Now, you can reuse your rings, but on your flat, they have a seal. This is like an old-fashioned one I just pulled out. I still plan on using it. It's never been used. I just opened the box. But I probably will use it on something kind of like a small batch of jam or whatnot. That way if it doesn't seal because it's old, then I won't be out of a huge loss. I'll just stick it in the fridge. But this is like a rubber gasket, and it's going to, when you put it, your hot, we'll just talk about jam right now. So you put your hot jam in there, you put your lid on, you put your ring on, and then you put it in your processor for 10 minutes or whatever, your directions say for that jam or jelly or whatever you're doing. You put it in your processor, you process it, you pull it out. There's a little part that's gonna suck down inside, and that's how you know it's sealed, because you could take this off, this ring part, and it won't do that. If it's sealed, this will stay on. It will be, you could tug at it, it's not gonna pop off, and it's gonna have that vacuum seal so your food will last. If you still hear this, that means, oh, no, it didn't seal. So you can reprocess, or you can just stick it in your fridge because it needs to be used. So this is our beginners episode of You Can Can, and we will, our next installment, we'll talk about some handy tools that you might need, like funnels and rubber spatulas, your canners. We'll talk about those next too. But this is step 1, is to get your jars. And don't be afraid of old jars, as long as you give them a thorough inspection. There's no cracks, there's no, you don't see any weak spots in the jar, because you don't want to put a lot of money, effort, and time, because canning does take time, and it is valuable. Like I said, the food that you're putting away is usually the best that you can get. That's what I try to, that's what we all try to do when we're canning this. We're putting the best in here, and we want to preserve it. So we don't want to do things that are going to ruin that by busting in the canner because it's a sorry jar. So just because it's an old jar, do not be afraid. If it's a Ball or Care or those reputable brands, they last for a long time. Just check your jar over and make sure it looks still solid and sound and there's not any cracks or blemishes in the jar itself. And I have jars from my grandparents. I have jars from that people will call me up and say, hey, Chas, I've got jars. I don't use them. Do you want them? Always say yes. Because, like I said, to put up your food is highly valuable. And if you have tried to find mason jars or lids or flats right now, you've seen just how scarce they've become. So it's something that you might want to, if you can find them at a yard sale and they are actual jars and not just like used to be. Old mayonnaise jars would be mayonnaise used to come in glass jars, and different condiments and whatnot come in glass jars. I use those for like storage, but I don't use them to can in. So make sure of what you're getting. Okay, so I hope that's helpful, that you've learned a little bit about the start of our canning journey. We'll talk a lot more about it as we go along. We will, like I said, I wanted to talk to you just like I would if I was starting with somebody brand spanking new, like one of my kids, and I was teaching them the basics, or just a new friend that I'm teaching the basics of how we do this process. It is not difficult. Anyone can do this. You need to learn a few steps. You need to learn what tools you need, and a few safety precautions as we go along the way, and just an excitement to take what you've grown or what you bought and save it for a rainy day. And man alive, it feels so good to pull out some yummy food that is still fresh and delicious and that you preserved from months before, and you can put it on your table. It's a great feeling. So I look forward to coming back with you and showing you the next step on how we can learn to can. All right, see you later. Have a great day.